Hello guys, I am back from another video, and today we talking about Deku was a forgemaster. So, in the last video, Deku, after Izuku finished the batch of night beasts, getting ready to go and get shipped to another country for a certain, vampire in Italy, Izuku starts going to the throne room because he was told by Aya that she wanted to talk to him. Apparently, Aya was in trouble because the Yakuza, or at least one of the members of the Yakuza, have discovered their. Not really discovered, more like found out about their certain heritage, being that they're actually vampires. Izuku was terrified because the Yakuza, aka the most powerful group in Japan, knows that they're vampires, which is terrifying to him. But Izuku knows about a certain girl in their ranks, being Eri, a girl that has a special type of blood that's the ingredient for quirk destroying bullets. After telling her that, she was pretty interested, as Izuku told her of a certain, option for them if they decide to attack them, is to murder them all. Literally just causing a mass, murder. And just framing it as a mm-hmm as a mass I'm not gonna say it because I'm probably gonna get demonetized, and yeah. So after that we moved on to a different perspective, being Monoma's. And Monoma has been wanting to become a hero so she can, find Izuku with some legal help. And when she got attacked by the sludge villain, All Might saved her, as when she talked about Izuku and she wants to try and find him, let's just say All Might remembers him clearly and wants to try and find him so he can give him his quirk because he felt guilty for saying that he couldn't become a hero. And after that incident was in the media, and when he found out about it, let's just say he's been worried sick about this young boy. So, after that little incident, she came back home where her parents tried to calm her down and tell her that it's okay for her to just, just do something else and not try to bother the police, and just let the police do it by themselves trying to find Izuku. She insists as she goes to her room where she has a full plaque or clipboard filled with pictures of Izuku and some articles and some news and also some photos, things like that, trying to find out where Izuku is. As she already knows about All for One, because her mother did have a quirk, or at least a quirk given to him by, given to her by All for One. And because of this, it caused her, being, Monoma, to have her copy quirk. Because of this, she wants to try and find Izuku because she thinks that Izuku got an quirk from All for One. Because apparently in one of the photos or the videos, apparently Izuku killed a man and turned him into this creature, which she doesn't know that it's a demon or a night beast or whatever you want to call it. So, after thinking of that, she come up with a theory that Izuku is being mind controlled by this girl by the name of Aya, and she was pissed when, Aya, or at least Aya, suspectedly, controlling Izuku just using mind control, and she wants to get revenge on her, wanting to bring Izuku back to the side of good. And so, she decides to get some sleep because, by the way, guys, I'm really sorry. I actually meant the not sports festival. I meant the entrance exam, not the sports festival. So I meant entrance exam, not sports festival. Okay, good. So she starts getting ready to go to sleep, so she can get ready for the UA entrance exam, and so she basically goes to sleep. And so let's talk about what happens next. So, Izuku was in the throne room again with Aya, as Aya tells Izuku that they're going to be getting ready so they can meet with the Yakuza. Apparently, they decide to, talk to them in a nearby storage facility, which is run down, and also they're going to be doing it at night. So, thank God for that, for her, because, she's a vampire. And Izuku was told to bring in some of his night beasts, or at least like prototypes. As Izuku just says this. Alright. And for that Kaichisaki guy, the leader of the Yakuza now, I want to try and kill him. As she says this. Oh yeah, you've been wanting to kill him, so you can get that girl. And this is going to be a villain what if. I'm sorry guys, he's not going to become a hero. I wanted him to be like a vigilante somewhat, but now when I thought of it, actually yeah, he would be a villain. And so, sorry guys that he won't become a hero or a vigilante or anything like that. He's gonna be a pure-hearted villain. So, Izuku started getting ready. And so Izuku grabbed his maybe like weaker a lower level night beast that he created from some dead bodies of orphans. Please don't ask how he got them. Just ask the vampires that sucked all of their blood. Anyway, so after Izuku does that, Izuku puts them in their cages and starts bringing them to the moving truck as they start moving on. So, as they were going through the city, and by the way, the actual truck is like those trucks that you would see in Jurassic Park, I guess, but except more like inconspicuous, unlike those. And so when they get there to the storage facility, they see overhaul, aka Chai Sisaki, met Kai Chisaki, and right beside him is Eri and the 8 Perceptions of Death. As Kai just says this, it's nice to meet you, Miss Vampire, or should I just call you Aya for short? As she says this, don't worry for formalities or anything like that, just call me Aya. Now, I wanted to introduce to you my right hand man, as Izuku bows to Kaichisaki. It's nice to meet you. My name is Izuku Midoriya, but you can just call me Izuku for short. Besides, I discarded that last name a long time ago. As he says this. Interesting. And you're supposedly the one that's making these creatures. As Izuku just says this. Correct. I'm what you call a forgemaster. A person that's able to use the powers of hell and bring forth demons and form them from dead bodies. I just need to stab them with my katana, which Izuku is carrying right over there. Even though in in like in the animated series, they summoned them just like similar to like Emiya when he summons like Kanshon Bakia and other types of weapons that he copied. In this case, he mostly carries it on hand just because. So, Izuku just says this. Just by stabbing a person with this, I can instantly turn them into one of my night beasts. So, do you want to introduce me to those guys over there? As they say hello. They say that they're called the 8 Perceptions of Death. As Izuku just says this. 8 Perceptions of Death. Interesting name. I wonder why. As they say this. Well, isn't it obvious? We kill people. As Izuku just says this. Anyway. So, I want you to meet my weaker level creatures. My night beasts that I prefer not to take in battle because they're just mere prototypes. As Kai just says this. What do you mean by prototypes? As Izuku just says this. Well, they're my first creations. But I prefer not to use them because they're pretty weak. And so, they pull off the the cloth that's draped over the cages, as they see the lower leveled creatures or night beasts. Some resembling like fusions of different types of like animals, but one of them stood out to Kai. It resembles a bird-like creature with fangs on its beak and blood-red, bloodshot eyes, with one eye in particular that's in the middle of his forehead, resembling the eye of let's just say of a child. It had bat-like wings instead of the typical feathered wings. It had a large, almost tentacle type tail, and the legs resembled the legs of a lizard, as Kai just says this. So, what is this creature? As Izuku just says this. They're called night beasts, creatures that I created. And what do you think? As he says this. How much do they cost? As Aya just says this. You want to buy them? I mean, they're probably pretty hard to control because you're not a vampire like me. As he says this. I'll manage. So, can you tell me how do you actually control them? As Izuku just says this. Well, because you're not a vampire, you had to make a deal with them. As he says this. How do you make a deal? As Izuku just says this. Well, you just need to let them drink your blood. Make sure not to make a big gash or they might, you know, bite it off. As he says this. Interesting. Now, as he grabs his hand, just takes off the glove, and creates a little hole, using his quirk. As Izuku just says to himself, God, I hate quirks. As Overhaul says this, do you look at me weirdly just because of my quirk? As Izuku just says this, no, it's because I hate quirks. As one of them, being one of the 8 perceptions of death, I met 8 perceptions of death said this. Why do you hate quirks so much? I mean, I won't blame you, but as Izuku just says this. The reason why I hate quirks is because I'm quirkless. As they say this. You're quirkless? As Izuku just says this. Yeah, I am. But after training with my friends over there, looking at one of the guards as he says this. Hello. Just says like, hello. Like that. As Izuku just says this. And also realizing my potential and power, I realized quirks are a disease. A disgusting disease that should be erased from this pathetic world. As Kai just says this. You have similar to you have similar ideals to me, but there is something wrong with you. You act like a child to me. As Izuku just says this. Well, I am 15. As he says this. Correct, but you have to picture it. A world without quirks. What had happened to society because of it? As Izuku just says this. Maybe the world would probably be in hell, or everybody would start like bullying each other. I don't know. As he says this. No, I would picture it as a utopia. And a utopia without quirks would be a great thing. Without quirks, nobody shall be oppressed. Nobody shall ever be disgraced because of their perceived power. But it's more of a curse. Just look at me. My quirk allows me to arrange anything by just... Wait for a second. Just look at me. My quirk is supposed to be a blessing. But everybody just thinks of it as a curse. But I use that curse for my own selfish deeds. Or that's what they think. I want to bring this world to a greater future. My quirk is horrible. I can't touch anything anymore. I had to wear these special gloves, and these gloves are restraints. Jeans. And I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. You're lucky, kid. Lucky to be quirkless. Lucky to not have a curse. A disease. As Izuku just says this. Lucky. Lucky. Do you know how it feels to be bullied just because you're quirkless? Do you know what it feels to feel weak, pathetic, even mocked, even called to kill myself? As everybody hears that, as Aya says this, Izuku, as Izuku just says this, sorry for my outburst. Let's just say, during my time before I became this, my life was a living hell. As Overhaul says this, anyway, kid, how much do you want for these? Like 200, 500, 3 million? Pick whatever poison you want. As Izuku just says this. How about wait for a second. How about 5 million yen? As he says this. Deal. As they shake hands. As when they shook hands, Izuku sends a little sign to, well, the guards, or at least the vampires that were with them, making a sign at the back of his behind them with his hands, and that sign means to kill everybody except for them, only killing the Yakuza members. As they do, they rip apart everybody and torn off every single member of the 8 perceptions of death. As when Overhaul looks over, they see the dead bodies of everybody. Everybody that worked for him. Eri was spared. For now. As Kai just says this, why you... As Izuku just grabs his blade and slices off his head. As Izuku just says this. Pleasure doing business with you, but unfortunately, I do not take deals to scum like you. Quirk user. Trash. As Izuku throws away his body, putting it in a nearby dumpster. As Izuku tells all of them to start going back home. Or going back to their base. As Izuku grabs Eri, planning on creating more of these special bullets. And yeah, Izuku's going to be purely ambitious, I guess you can call it. He doesn't even care if people die in the process. The only thing he cares about is getting results and also destroying old quirks. So, thanks to Eri, he's going to make a lot of special bullets. But this time, they're gonna be a bit different. Thanks to a bit of research, Izuku have learned to make homunculi. If you don't know, homunculi are basically not really clones. They're more yeah, I guess you can call them clones. Clones, I guess. Because I'm gonna be basing off the homunculi off of Fate's homunculi. So, Izuku creates several different clones of Eri, which Izuku extracts some of their, well, artificial or copies of blood, similar to Eri, so they can make their own version of the quirk destroying bullet. But unlike the canon versions, these ones actually destroyed the quirk. So basically means if you get shot by these bullets, no matter what, your bullet or your quirk is completely gone. No matter how you try to work it out, even with Eri's quirk, it will never work. No matter if you're wishing for it, your quirk is gone if you get shot by that bullet. So, when Izuku does make copies of like Eri, Izuku just slaughters them, just using their blood for making these special, you know, bullets, which Izuku used for as like weapons for the rest of like the soldiers or aka the vampires and some of the, smarter night beasts. And for Eri, well, Eri is just nothing more than like supplies. Not really supplies, more like just for using to make more clones. So Izuku lets her sleep in his room, as she calls Izuku Big Brother now, or just father, which Izuku was kind of touched by. So, Izuku is now currently trying to make more of these special bullets, and he's going to be using them when he gets to go and kill All Might. Because now he hates all heroes now. In general, he hates all quirk users, except for one. And that one was the girl that actually helped him during those days. And that girl was Monoma. And when he does, you know, meet her again, Ezekiel wants her to, like, stay with him, wanting her to be by his side in destroying all quirk users. Ezekiel is making a special type of serum that would erase her quirk, unlike the, quirk erasing bullet. This one is not as lethal. This one just erases the quirk, nothing else, nothing more. But the quirk erasing bullet not only destroys their quirk, but also kills them. And so Izuku makes the syrup, and it does work. So, Izuku puts it in a little refrigerator so he can use for in the future, when he meets back up with Monoma. So, this is going to be the end of this perspective. Sorry, it's not the end of the episode yet. It's going to be the end of this perspective on Izuku, and let's go back to Monoma right now. So, Monoma is currently at the entrance exam, getting ready to go there. So, when she gets there, she sees Bakugo. Bakugo was being mean as usual. It's basically just like in canon, but except, replace Izuku with Monoma. That's basically what happens. So, wait for a second. So, Monoma, after doing you know, the, um, written exam, Monoma starts going to you know, to the auditorium where they meet up with President Mike. So, when they did, it's basically just like in canon, but except replace Izuku with Monoma, Monoma specifically, as when they get to the, wait for a second, to that little gate thing, she sees everybody getting ready, as she copies some of their quirks, one from a guy that has a speed quirk, and the other from a strength enhancement quirk, which, by the way, that's not like, the speed one is definitely not like, what's his face? Ida, yeah. Yeah, but except, yeah, the one from like the strength enhancement quirk guy, let's just say it's from a random student, which is definitely not going to be in like, in in the series by the time he like gets into UA or something like that. I don't know. By the way, her quirk is a bit different. Her quirk basically allows her to copy two different quirks or three, and allows her to use all three. Like for example, if she touches like a guy with a fire quirk and touches a guy with a ice quirk and also touches another guy with like a speed quirk, she can use all three. So she copies both of these guys' quirks as she starts moving on. where she destroys several robots thanks to her training. As when she saw the zero pointer, she saves a girl, which is, well, Ochako. After saving Ochako, she moves on as she goes back home, where she starts doing more research on trying to find Izuku. So, let's go to the police. This is another perspective. So, when they get there, the police were told that there was a murder that happened. And when they saw the murder scene, well, let's just say it looked like Jack the Ripper was at it again. But more terrifyingly because, well, let's just say the bodies were basically hitting the floor, like, pretty hard. They saw several dead bodies. Wait for a second. As they see, these dead bodies have a common trait. Most of them were torn apart or were gotten their their blood sucked out of them, which they think is probably from a quirk user that has a vampiric type quirk. And probably, out of control. So, every single hero around the thing, and also we're told of this, they started finding some people that have, or at least some criminals that have vampiric type quirks and also can't control their quirks at all. So, they come to the conclusion that they probably think that it's from a certain quirk user by the name of Himiko Toga, a girl that's been terrorizing the neighborhood because of her shape-shifting quirk, which is also vampiric. So they probably need to find her immediately and try to stop her. But the truth is that Izuku and the gang of vampires and also Aya are the actual culprit, so they probably think it's probably not them because they don't know them all that much. And so, yeah, it's basically the end of this episode. So, I hope you liked the video. Comment, subscribe, and like the video so you can support my channel. And also, tomorrow's going to be finally the day where I'm going to be doing what if Deku was reincarnated or got transferred or whatever, or isekai to like the Minecraft universe. So yeah, I'm excited for that, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye.